Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about pretty much how much I'm enjoying 8.1 so far, and that's before the raids are even out. Basically with 8.1 was a lot of quality of life improvements. That was the big thing in 8.1. And what this is going to do for me personally is it's going to allow me to play through this patch most likely all the way through and not get bored, waiting for 8.2 to come out. So, like at the end of 8.0, I was really bored. I was barely playing. I was mostly only signing on for rating, which made it really hard for me to do content and everything. But I was just really bored and didn't really have much to do. However, with this patch, I already thought Battle for Azeroth was friendly towards alts, but with this patch, it's kind of making that even more friendly. The first thing I'm going to talk about is Warfronts. Warfronts are an amazing addition to the game. They don't add a ton of content, granted. It's not very quest driven or lore driven, which is something that I really like. So, I would like it to, if they had a little bit more lore to it. Maybe you could do quests inside it that tied into the lore, things like that. Maybe even just completely optional quests that maybe they did give you resources if you did them the first time or whatever, but you didn't have to do them by any means. But that's another story of fixing a thing already in the game. But the war fronts are great for your alts. Obviously, you can definitely get a piece of gear for your main, especially at the beginning of a patch, or as we're seeing at the end of a patch when the new war fronts come out. You can get a good piece of gear for the next tier there. But it's a really great feature to catching up your ults in gear. So we had one Warfront, and it was always good to do it, but it was only like once a month. Now with two of them, now it's twice a month, so it's literally twice as much gear, and you're able to do a huge catch up on your gear for your alts, and it's extremely helpful. So if you're like me, you don't do mythic pluses on, you barely do it on your main character, you definitely don't do it on all your alts, and being able to just get a piece of gear from doing that, which isn't a lot of work. You can do it casually if you have a child running around like I do. It's very easy to do. Maybe your significant other is making dinner, you're watching the kid, something like that. You can go into a war fight. You don't have to worry about it if you have to AFK for 2 minutes. It's not a huge deal. It's definitely a great way to still get gear for the casual player. This is always important. I'm not a casual player. I mythic raid. I try my best to be a good mythic raider. Do mechanics, know the fights, all that kind of thing. Help others if I can. You know, uh, I've played high ranking in many other games as well. And I'm not saying I'm the best player by any means. I'm not a casual player, but I always am supportive of the casual players because casual players are what makes the game. The most fun I have in World of Warcraft are when there's the most players playing. The auction house is stimulated, the economy is stimulated. There's tons of people doing everything. You never have to worry about finding people to do a group of anything, whether it's an old achievement or whether it's what now is a world quest, but there could be just like an elite that needs killed, when you're leveling and you can't solo it. So luckily there's two other people right there to help you do it. I love the more players the better. And I love that they're encouraging alts. I love that they reduce the experience needed to level up in this patch as well. So you have less experience needed, more ways to gear your alts once you get them leveled up, and just generally more enjoyable for that casual player. I have a friend who is extremely casual. He doesn't play anymore, but he played extremely hardcore. He played hardcore at extremely casual level, I guess you would say. And he was all about alts. He had all of his alts. It was really hard for him to get gear. First of all, because he was playing so many different characters, and but in this climate, if he was playing, all of his characters would probably be somewhat geared, and that he still wouldn't be doing the content or anything, but he would still have a way to do gear. I believe they first tried to do this with Raid Finder. They're like, let's give people a tier of gear lower than normal, but Raid Finder is still an issue because you run into things like you do in let's say a game like a MOBA, like League of Legends, you could run into the same problem. Or let's keep with Blizzard and say Overwatch. It's a team game, and when you queue together, you're gonna get sometimes one, sometimes multiple people who are really bad, who are just really stoned out of their minds, who really don't care, whatever, and it makes Raid Finder, especially with 20 plus people, really awful experience. So I think Raid Finder wasn't necessarily the way to go. I think these Warfronts are, because you can do them casually, and it's the gear is more time gated. This Warfront's going to take a half hour to do. You're going to get this piece of gear. It's more time gated than skill gated, which is good for casuals. And I'm just very pumped up about it personally. I hope that the game keeps evolving this way. I hope they keep releasing Warfronts with each patch. And I hope that each Warfront continues to give higher and higher level gear. To make your gear relevant for the current tier of rating, current power tier, I guess you'd say. And yeah, overall, I'm just enjoying it a ton. Those are the main things, the leveling and the war fronts. But there's other things in game as well. You know, island expeditions are trying to evolve those, make the rewards a little better for them. Island expeditions have been a little bit of a flop. I don't really mind them personally, but it's not something I do for fun. Although I do like getting like the pets and stuff. I like getting any collectible, I guess. I'm a sucker for that, but I think they could evolve that a little bit more. They did make it so you get experience doing it. Perhaps maybe you just make island expeditions something you can do even at low level. Let you queue from it from like, you know, everything else scales with your level. So make there be a level 20 to 60 queue, you know, for it, where when you join it, you know, everything's the level that you are. And then they have like a 60 to 70, 70, 80, whatever the way they would need to do it. That could be a cool way to kind of increase islands and make them a little bit better, a little bit more fun, in my opinion. You have more chance to get more of the collectibles because you might be doing them more often. Queue for an island, a battleground, and a dungeon. That's just an idea I'm throwing out there. But yeah, overall, I'm really enjoying this patch. I think I will find myself playing all the way through 8.1, all the way to 8.2, not getting bored as much at least. And hopefully, I have 3 characters that are somewhat geared. Well, 1 character that's very geared, and 2 characters that are somewhat geared. And hopefully, I'll be working on my 4th one, getting him geared with this patch. At some point, my rogue, I kind of lost my luster on him, and I'm leveling up my warlock still. I've mentioned that on a few videos, but hopefully, I can start getting him some gear as well. So my goal would be to play enough, because that means I'm enjoying the game, to have, you know, 6 to 8 characters geared by the end of the expansion. And by geared, I mean just geared enough to do, you know, some level of Mythic Plus that's currently out, or some like a heroic raid pug or something like that. That's what I mean by that. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Let me know if you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. Probably not. I'm a little bit too hyped on it, I feel like. But yeah, let me know if you guys are enjoying it. And yeah, if you enjoy my videos at all, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Or if I've ever, you know, helped you with anything. And everybody have a good one.